talking for yourself is the first sign of madness, I read. Oh, sorry, Verage, I wasn't talking to you.
It's also a good thing because you never get bad answers or bad questions. It's also...
Oh, you haven't talked with my mind then.
Transmission. There we go. My camera's stuck again. For some reason. Let's go in game. Camera. I need to get a new one. Well, if they don't see my face, it's not the worst thing, I think. And I can hear somewhere something. And we are live, and we have the usual problems with technology. So my camera is not working at the moment. So for the people in the Discord, we are live at the moment. If you go to the YouTube link, you will be able to see the Bellum website. So everything you say is going to be forever on the internet. I hope my microphone is coming in pretty good. So I'm going to wait a little bit until the people say that. Sound is good. Hold on, something is... Me and Marcus are in the channel. So that means that there we go. And 2 more people joined in. Hello, Marcus and Adam. Yeah, that's the private one. You thought we were all late? Well, there we go. We learned something every day. So for the people viewing this on YouTube, we have 26 people watching this at the moment. So we're gonna start really fast. But first, I want to introduce everybody that is here. Last time, how is the audio? Good. How is the audio? Is a question from a. So I'm gonna see what people say when you're talking, and then we can change things. Before we start, I'm going to introduce the people that are here. I will not let them introduce themselves because we want to keep it as short as possible, and we know that the people like to talk just like me, so I will do that for them. So for Sparta, we have Johan, which was our commander. We have Andreas, which was a 2IC in Alpha platoon. We have myself, which was a squad leader in Delta platoon. And good evening, all. Then for Legion, we have Rhythm, or I actually don't know how to pronounce your name. Gisler, is that correct? Gisler. All right, I'm gonna stop trying. He was the commander for Legion. We have Farah, who is sitting next to me. Well, I would say like you can see it on the camera, but my camera froze the first second we started the live stream, and I'm afraid to cut the live stream at the moment. We have Adam, who was second in command of a platoon. I don't know which platoon it was. Jesus. Oh, all right, that one. Yeah. And then we have Hampus, who was a squad leader, and we have Marcus from crew. Did I forget somebody? Awesome. So today we're going to go over a few topics. Well, it's all going to be over Bellum that just happened last week. And we're going to go over, depending on the time, because we want to try to keep it within 1 hour, 1.5 max. I know Burgard one was a little bit longer, so we're going to try to keep it in the margins of a good timing. So we're going to talk about command and the prep work. The fun thing is that we have both commanders here, so they can talk a little bit about the preparation they did. We both have the preparation documents on my computer that I will be able to share to you. We're going to talk a little bit about the differences that... I don't hear the people in the Discord. All right. Okay, we quickly need to... Okay, keep talking. You guys keep talking.
As always, Legion is a very, very friendly team that immediately takes in everybody who's there, regardless if you're there for the first time or coming over from Sparta or whatever. So it was a nice game, nice people, excellent organization, and good fight, good humor also amongst the players. Both Sparta and Legion coming together on a single base is actually quite unique, and I really like it at least.
All right, good. Audio is there. Thank you for the.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. It is working. If the sound is too low, too high for one party, let me know and we will change it up a little bit. So the topics that we're going to talk about is the command. Like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about Ars Alpha, the system that Bellum uses to have the game mechanics and stuff. We're going to talk about vehicles and balancing. And if we then have time left, we're going to talk about some bending of the rules, the location itself, and the use of the map and drone usage. Now, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. I will try to follow. I also have Farah next to me that I just appointed her to follow the chat a little bit to see if there is questions. And if there are questions, I will be able to highlight them by clicking on them. I should be able to do that. Where's my chat? There's my chat. Let me see if it actually works, because yeah, I do those live stream stuff every day. There we go. Sparta Delta Platoon for the win. There we go. It works. Good. Then we can actually start this off. Again, thank you all for being here in the video and live, and then also the people here from all the different sides to support my statements and give your own, of course. So we're going to start off with Johan, or thank you. Yeah, my camera is frozen. I will try to fix it when somebody else is talking. So I'm going to give the microphone to Rhythm or Johan, depending on who wants to go first. And then they can talk a little bit about how they set up the Myro boards, because both teams use Myro boards. I'm quickly going to show them. This is the Sparta one, and then the Legion one is this, and you will see a lot of similarities because, well, I made a video.
I don't think you're showing actually something.
Am I not?
Yeah, I can actually see it.
Now I can see the Sparta. Yeah.
Yeah, there's on the video.
And there's Legion. Yeah, cool.
Okay. So you will see that both parties are using Mario to plan their teams, and the base is the same. It's something that we have been doing for a while now, for years basically. There's also a video on my channel about how to prepare for a bigger game, and this is also why we do those live streams, so people can learn on how commands prepared and do better for their own commands and bigger games. So I would say, Johan, are you gonna give it a go first? I will open up the Myro for you, and then you can go a little bit over how you planned, prepared when you started, and take it away.
Oh, for sure. No, for us in Sparta, we got the announcement that we were going to take the platoons and the entire command of Sparta around middle of June. So that is when we started for this. And I mean, it was kind of an interesting situation, as I have been playing under Rhythm before, and now it was time for me to take my own command and take this to go together with Robin and a few other guys as well. So as a start for us was just pretty much to take what we knew from last year's. So we started with actually looking at both the Sparta Myro board from last year, but also took a sneak peek of Legion's Myro board from last year, and kind of started to feel like, what can we take that we like from both of them to arrange the planning. And as we were coming from Legion, we didn't really know a lot about Sparta. We know the players from Legion, we know the command from Legion. So to work from there, as we had a lot of new people, we also started with like seeing who took command last year, but also what players do we have in Sparta. As this was the first time for me to be a commander as well, I wanted to get all the help that I could get throughout the entire command from start to finish. So this was kind of like a multiple working channel in two ways, pretty much. Firstly, to find all the players and see who could lead platoons, and then we started to calculate that depending on how many players we had, as we pretty much can see here. But also on top of that, to look at, okay, how do I want to build my command? What people do I need to get, and how can these people help me in the missions from pretty much start to end? As we all know, this ended up becoming like the largest Bellum that has ever been made and organized. So to get to know all of these players and people at the same time as we try to plan something, it started to be quite hard in the beginning, but then pieces started to fall in place accordingly to pretty much the plan. Um, it was a combination of taking old platoon leaders and getting the platoons into the same platoons from last year, but also to find new platoon leaders, as we also know that people might not want to do this every year. So how can we find new platoons and work from that? And then we had a lot of trust in our platoon leaders. So when we found the platoon leaders, we told them to see, okay, guys, what players do we have? What players do you want? How do you want to organize your platoons? We weren't the ones who wanted to say, oh, you go there and you go there, but we trusted our platoons a lot. We also knew in the beginning that we would get a lot of more vehicles than we had the former year. Yeah, this ended up to be a bit of a change during the event, as we know. But as a start, we went from there, planning the HQ, trying to get to know the people, but also work with the people and trust the people that are from Sparta and has done this a lot of years, and then work closely with them, working with meetings every second week to see how far we went and see how the planning went for the platoons. So I would say that was pretty much the start of it.
All right, thank you. Rhythm, for you, this is not your first rodeo. You have been doing this 2 times, maybe. So you've been doing this for a while. Does it sound familiar for somebody that is new into this, where you started off once, and well, Johan has the advantage that he can use the tools that you have been, well, the HQs have been creating for Burgett and Bellum in the past. And how did you approach it, like the planning phase?
Well, we started way early, actually, back in Marcus, you need to remind me now when we talked. I think it was beginning of the year or something like that. And the first thing I did was to get in touch with the platoon leaders I had last year, because they were all great and I wanted to have them on board again. Luckily, all of them actually took part in this game again as platoon leaders, which of course is very comfortable, because then you work with a team, in a leadership team that is already knowing each other, know how they think, how they work. They understand when I have a certain tone, what I mean, and so on. So that was a rather luxury. And we began with a more detailed planning of setting up the platoons after Burgett. So that must have been back in the end of June, beginning of July, something like that.
Yeah, I can see your timeline. 13th of July, your platoon leaders meeting, and then we jumped to August 9, where you had workshops. I know we did workshops in the past, but this year at Burgett we didn't do any workshops.
And I felt that we needed to up the game a bit for Bellum, since we came from 2 straight losses. And what we did was have workshops both for platoon leadership, for mechanized forces, that's both drivers, commanders of vehicles, and the platoon leaders that do have vehicles in their platoons. We also did a workshop for squad leaders, and then we had an all-player meeting where we basically informed of this is how we want to play this game, and the orders, the map, etc.
All right, good, thank you. And as you can see, I think this is the first time that both parties see the enemy's Miro boards, how similar they are, and for people that have been viewing the previous live stream from Burgett, you can see a lot of similarities on how the Miro board is built up, and a lot of stuff is coming back in trainings, in Airsoft playbook. So a lot of things are created. If you want to make a bigger game, contact the people that have been creating bigger games in HQs, and there's a lot of information out there already that can be used as like a roadmap or a lot of information. I will write that question down. It is a really good question from the unpronounceable name. And I will go over that in a little bit. But first, I want to talk to Marcus. how did you feel? Was there a difference between the commanders in their approach of starting up the groups?
Well, there's a major advantage for Legion here because Gisse, who was running Legion, already knew about this since last year. So he could start quite early. What happened on the Sparta side is that the HQ that was meant to be actually jumped ship in around June, I believe. So we were a little bit in a hurry, not in a hurry, but we had some options for regarding different kind of leaders, and then it fell on Johan to actually lead Sparta. After some discussions, etc., then he said that he's gonna step up with his team and lead Sparta. So the big difference here in the leadership is that Legion had more time. They knew what was coming. They planned it much longer time. Sparta just had a couple of months to get everything in place. And as Johan said earlier, it's he had never played on Sparta, so he was brand new to Sparta. So that is, I would say, the big difference between them. The time they had to prepare it. Otherwise, I mean, setting it up, as you just showing, they had very similar ways how to set up the HQs and the structure around the teams.
Yeah, thank you. And you can see indeed now I have the both Myros side by side, and it is a very similar setup. And every year there's new stuff that we both HQs try out. And we had it with Verage, we had it with Bellum, that they try to some new things and then they don't work. And we the next year we try something else and we keep the ones that work and we throw the ones that doesn't work. So every year it looks a little bit different, but the base is basically the same, which is a really good system. So that was the preparation. So I can also see on, I think, both Myros, there is a base area map, which is really nice. So people, when they come on site, they immediately can see where they need to go. So there is a preparation for people that if you come on site, you know that something is arranged. So the names of the platoons are different, which makes sense. I see Sparta went for the normal NATO alphabet, and I think Legion, they can choose whatever they wanted.
Yeah, within reasonable. So I provide a list of 48 names, I think it was, and they can pick and choose whatever they feel is suitable.
Okay.
And of course, there's a tradition here now. Mango Platoon has had that name for, I think, 3 years, etc. So yeah, it becomes quite prestige to be in the same platoon, and it helps with the core d'esprit.
It was actually interesting because the Legion had a password for recognizing other players. Like you yell a password and then you get a return back. The interesting, funny thing was that they were using Delta Berlin, if I'm correct.
Yeah, initially, yeah.
And then I think our first contact, we basically cracked the code because we were Delta Platoon. So we were like, this is weird. Why are people yelling Delta? They're not Delta. And then suddenly a guy yelled Berlin. I was like, aha, aha. So this is what we need to yell when they don't know who we are. And it made a lot of confusion because you use Delta. And for me, as a Delta person of Delta Platoon, people were yelling Delta because we were asking if they were our platoon. But then suddenly we heard, what was the word again? Delta. Berlin. People shouted Berlin back. We were like, this is not, we wanted to know if you're on our side. And then if they didn't reply with Delta, we just fired up on them. So it was just a funny thing that happened because we were Delta and you used your password with Delta, which maybe lessons learned to use something different.
No, you rotate. We changed the name actually at midnight when we realized that it was cracked already. So yeah, but next year we'll do something in German instead. It will be more difficult for you guys then.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all the Swedes pronouncing German words.
Me too.
So that was the preparation and a little bit the difference between the team. Because the difference in preparation is similar, the amount of people is similar, the amount of platoons is similar. I see 6 platoons for Legion, and I see 6 platoons for Sparta. The amount of
We
people.
had 5 platoons actually. One is the night
Ah,
operations
night.
platoon.
Yeah. Well, we had Bravo, which was 8 people in a platoon. So, well,
Similar size then, yeah.
yes. So the 5 platoons were similar size. We didn't have a special night group on our miter board. We used night vision icons. So then people knew exactly which group had night visions, and then those people were the people that were going to go out during the night. So like a few small differences, but most of it is the same. So that's the prep work. I wrote down to ask, like, where did you put your focus? But I think Johan already answered this, that the focus was to find the people and connect with them. And for Legion, what was your focus this year? Because you had the same commander, so that was an easier task. So was there a different focus?
I think the prep work with the workshops, the discussions with the platoon leaders, how do we do this? How do we change the outcome so that we win? That was the main focus.
All right. So this is the word from the commanders. And the reason I wanted to have people from all levels, platoon commanders, squad leaders, because not everything they plan also comes into the platoon leader's hands, or like they don't always get the information. So I do have Andreas and Adam as platoon commanders. How did you feel that the preparation went? Let's start with Sparta again. Andreas.
Well, it was kind of new for me since I've been the commander for Blue Side 2 years in a row, basically. So it was new, but Johan did really, really well with his HQ, and he listened to all the feedback that we had, and also, since he's new to Sparta, he really utilized us as much as he could. So I think he did well. I mean, it is always a challenge, when you come to the game site and it starts pouring rain and you lose people, etc., and morale goes down, etc., etc. So it is challenging, but I think the HQ did a really, really good job with what they had and the time they had. And the preparations, of course, they didn't have as much time as we did when we started planning back in the days, but they did a really good job. So they landed on their feet and started running.
So the things that they tried actually worked.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's really similar to what we did previous years, so it's not a big change. So I think most people felt comfortable in that, and of course, there's a rotation of who's platoon leaders as usual. I think you mentioned it previously. The Legion side with Gisa and them, they have a tradition of reusing their platoon leaders, which is fantastic. That's a luxury. That the same people come back and want to do that again. I think for the blue side, I don't know. It's sort of similar for Birgit and other NATO sides. Usually they tend to rotate and not come back in the same manner, so it's harder to get consistency as they do in Legion, which is really commendable. So that's a good thing for them.
Yeah, true.
Something we have to work on blue side.
Yeah, true. Adam.
So I came in kind of late to the platoon side of things. I've had my ticket for the longest time, and I was coming with my team. But it was, I think, a week or two before the actual game start that I sort of stepped up and told my platoon leader Victor, like, "Hey, I can help you," because I saw that he didn't have a second in command. I think it's still on the mirror board actually. So for me, and since I've been both second in command and platoon leader before, and I was actually trained by both Andreas and many other people who has shown me the ways of good leadership, and I'm a project manager by trade. So for me, just stepping in, and I initially I just wanted information, like what's going on, how are the preparations going, because I actually hadn't received that much information beforehand, but that was when I was on squad level only. So as I came up to more platoon level information, that's when I'm just like, okay, I know which teams are going to be in the platoon. They are close friends of our teams. So, like it's Stockholm-based or Uppland-based teams, so we all know each other very dearly. And then I know like, okay, this is gonna work fine. They are gonna be very autonomous on their own, and I wasn't that worried. So when we arrived on site, it was just rock and roll and go with what we know best.
All right. Thank you. It's really nice to hear that both like platoon commanders, it actually worked. And for Adam, you just fall into the place that you know, and it wasn't that difficult because, well, everything was ready for you, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
We do have a few questions in the chat about this topic. Is he asked, what was the biggest challenge as a commander? Johan, what was your biggest challenge?
Well, I would take this down to two separate parts. In the preparation, it was to actually get to know Sparta, to get to know how they work, to get to know what they want. As Andrea said before, that we came in from nothing. To establish all that and have a basis to work from, I would say would be the hardest part. During the event, it was actually to get the rest. You want to be there all the time, you want to be there for the people, but to understand when it's time to sleep and maybe to let the rest of the HQ to do your thing, I would say that was the hardest part. I slept around 3 hours a night because I wanted to be there. And when there was no one there, I wanted to be there in the field as well, to make sure that the team always had someone to trust and to work with. So for me, I would say to just step back was the hardest part.
Okay, thank you, Rhythm. I also moved up the I upped the volume for the platoon commanders because it was a little bit low. So if there is a sound thingy that you want to change, let me know so I can change it a little bit. Rhythm, what was your biggest challenge?
I think the biggest challenge is basically the same every year. Keep the momentum going, because people will get tired, of course, and people will want to sit down on base to have a chat and have fun also. But as a commander, it's kind of falls upon me to drive people together with the platoon leaders, of course, out into the field again. And that's always the biggest challenge, I would say. I mean, in the end, we don't get paid to do this. We actually pay money to do this. And it is a challenge to do it because this is not what we do every day. And getting the kind of commitment that you might want to have is sometimes quite hard, and totally understand that. So that's the biggest challenge on my part.
All right, thank you. That was nice and short. I like it. Then
German efficiency.
yeah, sometimes it works. Then we also have another question from Ervil. Why aren't there any limitations on cars when one team has too many and other has almost none? We're gonna jump to a different topic because we did have the command and prep work. We went over that for quite some time now, and there is a difference in vehicles. If we go back to the Miro boards, you can see that, for example, Delta had one vehicle that was not a fighting vehicle. Echo had two vehicles. One had a turret. The other one was also just a driving vehicle. And the fourth vehicle that Sparta had was also one without a turret. So it's just a small Jeep transport vehicle. If we go to Legion, we also had a few boats, but not big boats. I think the difference between boats was not that big.
There was actually no boats showing up to the game.
We had boats, no?
Nope.
Okay, no boats.
We
Someone
had
posted pictures on the red side of boats, so I'm
yeah
sure
we
they
had
have
a boat. We had a boat.
Okay, so Legion had a boat. Sparta did not have a boat. I did shoot some boat people, so there were boat people somewhere. Car wise, let me see. Eagle didn't. Mango had three cars ATV. Then another 2 cars and ATV in the next platoon, and then another one car and ATV and 2 motorcycles in Dagger. So there is a difference in vehicles. And the reason, well, Marcus, you can explain the reason why there is no real balancing in car-wise, but the balancing is done in other ways.
There was, in the beginning of the game, we had about 5 to 7 vehicles in each team. So there was a balance at the start of the game, or actually people who have signed up their cars and so on. So that was fairly balanced. When then we came to game day, there was some cars not showing up, and then during the game, even more cars was start malfunctioning and dropping out of the game. So the initial idea was to have quite a balanced game when it comes to cars. ATV and motorcycles is a different thing, but with the cars actually was quite balanced, before the game started, and then it became worse and worse. And then what we did, we introduced things to balance it up. With, for instance, mines. Sparta get more mines, so they could take out Legion cars. So we tried to balance it that way. But of course, there was a small small misbalance between the teams in the end, actually.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that do say, "Oh, cars make a big difference," and I cars make some difference, but cars will not turn the whole game around. If you have cars, you play as you have cars. If you don't have cars, you just avoid roads and you need to do a little bit more of walking. It is sometimes a morale boost if the car can pick you up and drop you off into base, so you don't need to walk all the way. So that was a small morale thingy. But if you know that you don't have cars, you just power through, and then it's up to HQ to basically motivate the people that, well, let's take their kill cards, corner them, destroy them, and take the kill cards and gain some points for it. Sadly, Legion did learn some lessons from last year, and they did play a lot better with their cars this year. So even though there was a difference, I don't think it made a whole lot of difference in the game itself. So I don't know if there's other. Go ahead, Marcus.
From a game master perspective, and listening, I wasn't even out on the game myself, but listening to our in-game crew that was out a lot, there was a huge difference in how vehicle were used this year. Vehicle was used much more aggressive last year, going into the fights. Now cars were almost backing off when they saw there was a fight, because they were very, let's say, afraid to get hit and being destroyed. So, because what we saw last year, it was a huge number of kill cards from the vehicles. This year, there was only about 12 on each side. So, meaning that the cars were very much more cautious in the fights this year. So, meaning that they were not that aggressive and going into the fights like last year.
I could comment on that. That we were out most of the game. In the beginning, before the mines, we saw a huge difference in how the cars were used compared to when the mines were introduced. So in the beginning, I would say they were a bit more aggressive. They didn't stop like they did previous years. They stopped in fights and started to engage, but they went through. So they basically just ran through the people shooting at them, because it was really hard to shoot out a car from the side. So they obviously knew that. But once the mines were introduced, the dynamics changed completely. So then we had cars stopping at a far distance, backing off instead, because they knew sort of it was an ambush. So it changed during the game. In the beginning, they were more aggressive, definitely more aggressive.
And
but you could definitely see a change in how they were compared to last year, because
there were less cars driving around just to drive around, because they knew they were high value targets and they were easily taken out by infantry. That's also why Sparta stopped using some of our cars, because, well, we didn't have any protection around our cars, because, well, they didn't have turrets, and the only thing they did was basically being a mobile respawn, and that just was a target for Legion. So we stopped using the cars. We're not able to put a lot of people in the cars anyway, so we're like, well, it's just a hassle to have the car, because it needs to be on the road, and then we can go through the forest, basically. there is some conversation in the chat about the mines and stuff. Did the mines actually affect any vehicles? Any knocked? They didn't knock them, but they were not allowed to drive over them. And like Ace said, they did use different tactics because the mines were in play, and we had a little bit more advantage to taking them out. Maggie says that vehicles, you're able to move troops faster around. That's true. And that also, there's some other comments about that. But I do believe that there is a workaround around that and keep your people just in the field in a different way. They don't need to fight. They can take a rest in the field. So there are ways to make your team work against if you have fewer cars.
There, I have to give all the Spartans a massive applause, because when we saw a lot of Legion's car moving people around, seeing fresh Legion players going around there, to just have the cool on the head and just do the missions, do what you're assigned, even if you were tired, go for a rest. To see that workaround and deploy the cars when we had the ability to deploy the cars, move people around, when we had the possibility to move people around, that was good. But just to see the Spartans go out there and do what they can, and like Andreas said, fight the cars with the different kind of options we had, that was a massive thing for me to see from HQ. So I just want to give like a massive applause for every Spartan player to do that and how they worked around it.
All right, thank you. And there's also a question: why can ATVs and motorcycles drive without hitboxes? That is just because you can shoot the person. So that's why they don't need hitboxes. And that's about it. It's a lot of going back and forward. People, it is easy to be driven around, but not all people of Legion were driven around in the cars. You can see the cars driving around. They were not always filled with people. It's smaller units being dropped off in different locations. We know this, and we can plan for this. And like Marcus said, we did have some balancing tools that we used. So this is about the cars and how they were used. Let me quickly change this. Clear. Another question about the cars is, and I'm going to go ask this to the squad leaders because they were mostly the people trying to take out those cars. How did you like the hitbox system? Because it is a little bit different from last year. Last year it was the CDs that you needed to replace from like the front. If the front was shot, you have to change the CD, get out, do it within 5 minutes. And then if the back is shot out, you need to change the back CD. Now it was electronic boxes with, and this is, I'm not 100% sure. Marcus, maybe you can help me on this. You didn't have to, if your front was shot, you can repair it from the rear. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, it's actually a bug in the system that we realized during the game. So, I mean, first of all, the system is a prototype system, like a beta version of a system that we're producing. So this is the first time it was really tried in action. We have tried it in smaller settings, but not in the big setting as Bellum. So we figured out as we went, and we actually did reprogramming of the system as the game was going on, and upgrading some cars with the new software and new features. So it was a little bit of trial and error this year, and we have a long list of things to fix on it. So, but anyway, yep, you could actually repair the front from the back and vice versa. And that will not be next year.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. There was a lot of confusion about that because of last year, of course. So that will clear out a lot of people that had questioned about that. And there is some interesting topics in the chat from the Finnish car. Usually their turrets turn around 360 degrees, but now with the cabling, with the hitbox, they could not turn around the full 360, which was fun because we took them out and we kind of played chicken with the gunner. So that was very interesting.
So good news for those guys is that we will have hitboxes running on wireless next year, some of them. So you can put a wireless hitbox on a turret next year, and because we saw that the cable is cable is not great on a turret, and we have the intention of going wireless, but then we would have another issue that might fail during this year's Bellum, as it was a beta version. So we said we'll do the wired this year, and then we'll go for the wireless next year when we have debugged the system a little bit more.
No, I think the system, because hold on, I'm the squad leader here for Sparta. Okay, I can talk about that. But I will first let Hampus talk about how did it feel to take out cars, if you found Legion cars to take out. Hampus.
Once again,
How did the new system, or if it was your first Bellum, did you enjoy the hit system, and how did you experience taking out cars with the hit system at Bellum?
this was my third Bellum, and I think the new system works pretty good. Myself didn't take out any cars, but some people in my squad did, and they have no complaints about it. So yeah,
that's really good. For me as a squad leader from go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, just we talk about the hit system here. I don't know if the listeners know what the Bellum hit system is even. So maybe you want to explain it to them, Verage, what it is.
Yes. Hold on. So the hit system for the people that there we go. Let me quickly go to the rules.
Actually, do we have any? I can send you a picture of it if you want.
Send me a picture, and in the meantime, I will already go over the rules.
Because you will not find it in the rule book.
Yeah, but the placing of the hit system is there.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's still the CDs in the rules. But so at Bellum, the cars they have 3 different hitboxes. You have one in the front, one in the back, and if you have an enclosed turret, you have one on the turret. If you shoot one of the hitboxes, the front or the back, your car is disabled. You cannot move it anymore, but the turret can still shoot. If you shoot the turret, it doesn't affect the car itself, it only affects the turret. If you shoot one of the hitboxes, front or rear, you have 5 minutes. The people in the car have 5 minutes to repair the vehicle, otherwise it is destroyed. And if you shoot both hitboxes, the vehicle is destroyed. And in the previous games, we used CDs. If you shattered the CD, the switches didn't have any connection anymore, and then the light went on inside and outside. And now it was polycarbonate plates with an LED at the bottom, which was good visible during the night, but not during daytime. So that's one of my remarks about that. And if you shot it, we don't know how many times we needed to shoot it. And then if the light was red, it was destroyed. Is that correct, Marcus?
It's a very accurate description of it.
And one thing that people asked is if there can be a sound alarm. And like Revil said, there was some situation where a car was destroyed from the front, and then after more than 5 minutes, the car was being repaired after that timing. And that is not how it is in the rules. They should go back to the base. So this is not the system. The system is like I explained it. So they need to go... Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, so I mean, it's correct. The vehicle needs to go back and so on. And with the sound, you started with that question. Yeah, it's already built in there. It's a feature that we actually disabled because there was some issues with it. But there is actually a sound built into the boxes that we're going to utilize. So the number of features that we actually have in the system is more than we utilized this year. So we have sound. The thing you said about the light, that's actually just one of our mistakes. So there is actually light that can be shown stronger during daylight. So you can actually see if it's white or red from the front. That wasn't activated now either. So we have, as I said, when we started this discussion, we have a long list of improvements for next year. So the intention this year was to run the beta concept, meaning that you shoot a car, you take it out, and then and that was the thing that we had to prove that it's working. And even that, we know that we have some more tuning to do on it. So next year, expect a shitload of more features to this system, as we have another year to try all the features out and fine tune them.
Yeah, but it's progress, and that's really nice to see that there's new stuff being developed and things are people send in some remarks and then those are being used or not used depending on how you feel that it needs to be incorporated into the game. I did have a question.
And I would just want to build on that. I mean, one thing you see here is that we have a hit system this year. Next year, it will be refined in a much better version. And that is basically how we operate as Bellum crew. Everything that we see that we can improve, we will do some actions towards it for next year. And that's just the cars. It can be anything: toilets, showers, food, whatever it is that we can improve.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So vehicle-wise, we talked about repairing and the new hitboxes. We talked a little bit about the mines. So I don't know if Legion got mines to place. I see Farah nodding no. So
no, I mean, as a GM, we actually gave Sparta the mines to balance that Sparta has too many vehicles up. So that was a balancing that we decided to do.
No, good. Thank you. And then the difference in teams, we talked about that too. So this is so there was also one boat in play, which was an interesting because there's a lot of water around. Let me see if I can go back to the map for the people that don't know the game area. So the game area has a lot of water areas, and it is possible to use boats. There's, in my opinion, there should be some changes in the boat rules, but I will talk to you about that, Marcus, later on, because it's nice that people can come in from the water side, and that changes the whole dynamic of the game, and it's a really cool feature. But we're not going to go too much into boats because we do have a few topics that I want to talk about, and one of those topics is the topic. Oh my God,
we can just mention one thing about the boat. We had about 10 boats that signed up before the game, and as Legion said, one showed up on Legion side. So,
why do you think
the game dynamic?
Why do you think that the boats they registered but they didn't show?
I don't know. I haven't asked the teams why they didn't bring the boat.
Okay. Rivel said boat sucks. The rain. I think
could be.
Johan, do you know why the boats didn't show up on Sparta?
Yeah, so we had one team with boats that were planned to come, but as we all know, there was a few things happening in Europe around that time. So we had a couple of people from that team who are pretty much called into the military, so they couldn't come.
Oh, okay. Because I do remember that we had a boat team, but yeah. Okay, good. And Rhythm?
Don't know, to be honest. We had one boat, we didn't use it, so.
Okay, good. But hopefully we can see more boats in the future. Maybe some boats from Bellum that can drop people in different areas. We'll see.
Yes, I mean, we will. I mean, if you look at some of the missions, what you doing kayaks this year, with gorgeous pictures and videos. If you look on our Instagram. However, we probably will bring boats for both teams in the future to be utilized by both teams. So we don't just trust the players to pick boats, because this year we had prepared loads of missions out in the islands, and I mean naval warfare and so on. But as boats didn't show up, we had to scrap those whole ideas. So next year we might rent a couple of boats for each team and have them ready so we can actually run the naval warfare.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice. I'm looking forward to that for next year. Then, like Mika says that they brought it last year, but they didn't bring it because it was tight on packing. So there was a lot of reasons why people didn't bring their boats. So hopefully next year we will see more boats. Right, next topic that is an interesting one for me, because I really love Ars Alpha, for the people that don't know that. And Bellum is one of the games that uses Ars Alpha very much to keep everything running, and it makes sure that after the game you have a full playback of everything, which is really nice. So if you went to Bellum, you just go into the PC version of Ars Alpha, you log in, you go to My Events, Past Events, and then you click on the info icon for Bellum 2025, and there you will be able to see everything. Now, the points that are shown are the points generated by different things, but those are not the exact points, because there are other things that also are added into the points after that the game is done. Like during the game, you get points, but those are not added into Ars Alpha itself. It's just a point system from the, I think, domination boxes that count, and then some other things.
Yep.
But this is not a representation.
Only domination.
Only domination points.
Only dom.
All right. And then you can just basically play with moving forward, moving backwards, jumping to a certain timing, and then you just press play, and then the game, well, this is nighttime, so everybody's sleeping. A lot of people are sleeping. And then suddenly everybody wakes up and roams around the field. So Ars Alpha is a really fun tool to use in the game. I love it. I'm going to talk to platoon commanders, because Ars Alpha is built for airsofters. There is ATAX out there, which is more military based. Ars Alpha is built for airsofters, and you can see it on the simplicity. How did you use Ars Alpha, Andreas?
We used it firstly for figuring out if we had friendly troops in the area, also to figure out which capture points were ours and which were enemies, to make sure we were attacking the right ones, to have track of those sort of things. So mainly for that tracking option. We utilized it a lot when we were scattered out over a larger area with our platoon, to make sure that everybody was in the right place. We didn't shoot on blue on blue. So we had track of that as well. So, but I mean, historically, I've tried all these different tools, and I like the tracking functions. I like, now that you also can, add more features to it. But the only thing I really don't like about any of these is that you sometimes, if you use it too much, you get stuck on a screen instead of fighting, or instead of focusing on your troops. So it should be used as, what it's good at, and not just overuse it. So you're sitting there with your phone constantly. It's gonna, as a platoon leader or a company commander, it's really easy to get stuck on that.
Yeah, and
So
that is 100% correct. And I couldn't say it any better. Ars Alpha is a tool that brings an extra layer, but that's only if you know the basics and you have been working on the basics, and you know what you should focus on that. And then if you have the time, you use Ars Alpha to utilize it in the field itself. But on Legion, Adam, you're the platoon.
I just want to add, you're now looking at the last fight where 200,000 Legion were on our little platoon of hungry players and 1 point in the middle.
Hey.
I think we had like 3 Legion cars against 10, 15 of us. That was fun. Anyway,
it was interesting. I'm also joining the fight. So like you can see the black marker here. I also joined the fight. It wasn't fun. Well, it was part of the fun, because the Sparta people, they were crawling everywhere. We had no idea where they were. We tried to attack from all the different sides, but it was just legions everywhere. But it was nice to see that even though we knew like, oh, we almost have nobody left, there were still Sparta people trying to push through and play up till like 1800, which is the time that the game ends. But it was really nice to see that all the legions were in the field, holding that location and being friendly. If we got shot out, it was just friendly people everywhere. That was really nice. Now we're going to quickly go to Adam. How did you guys use Ars Alpha?
Sort of mainly similar, like Andreas explained. Checking if there is, like, if we are going into a new territory on the map, just for me to check, is there friendlies in the area, or can we consider everything hostile? That was just at an initial glance. But also for real life situations, we actually had a point during one of the nights, just actually northwest of S1, where you have on the screen right now, where during the night I went out with my little squad, and we were like 6 people out doing missions. And at one point, I hear on the radio from one of my guys that, "Hey guys, I think I've lost you. Where are you?" And they're like, "Oh, we'll hit our IR strobe so you can look for it." And he looked around and was like, "Ah, sorry, I can't see you. Where the hell are you?" And I checked RS and I say, "Okay, he is 50 meters in that direction." He could not see the IR strobes. Like we even hit the IR flashlights and up into the trees to like beacon him in, but he didn't see because the vegetation was so thick around that area. And dark Småland in September, it gets pretty dark. And he had night vision, but he couldn't see where he was. So, but I knew when I picked up RS, like, oh, you are right over there. We know exactly where you are, so we don't lose you. But other than that, it just I tried not to stick my nose in my phone too much, but I still need to keep comms in check because there was always radio interference. So communicating with HQ on the phone and making sure that we go for the right targets on our missions was a great help with RS Alpha.
Yeah, me as a squad leader, I really enjoyed it because our platoon got a little bit split up, and especially now with the colors, you can give your squads different colors. So within our platoon, we all had the same color, but on if you can see it on the big screen, it's just yellow and blue. So commanders, I don't know if you saw, you saw the different colors, but GMs only see blue and yellow. But as a commander, you can see the different colors from the squad. So you know exactly which platoon is where, even though they might be intermingling with each other, the color is different for each platoon. And for us, that was red, I think we were, so we could easily find all our people on the map. So that's what I really loved about RS Alpha. So you could immediately identify people that they were there. And a lot of people use RS Alpha. Sadly, the printer broke down, Marcus, so there was no UAVs and EMPs. So we tried not we tried not to bunch up too much together. Like if we had we put up a mobile respawn, we really went out as soon as possible because we didn't know there was no UAVs. And UAV basically shows all the enemies in the area on your phone, on your device, in HQ, and also for everybody that is in the field. So that is a really nice tool. But sadly, we didn't have UAVs and EMPs because it does change the game a little bit. Sadly, maybe next year.
Not maybe, it's definitely next year.
And I'm getting pictures from HQ, from the Sparta HQ. Oh, I'm doing weird things. Give me a second. I'm opening wrong things. So at the screen, you can see pictures from nighttime HQ, Sparta HQ. Probably, well, he is cozy. But Marcus, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't saying. I just said that it will definitely be QR codes next year for the UAVs and so on. We had one printer this year, one laser printer that broke down in the middle of all the printing that we had to do, and there was no way to get it repaired in time. So we had a inkjet printer as a backup, but it's a little bit worn. So it was the QR codes coming out was a little bit blurry, so you couldn't scan them. So lesson learned, we're going to have 2 laser printers on site next year. So we have a full 100% backup.
That's good. Kill cards, yep. QR codes. No, the kill cards are just going to be the cards. The QR codes are for different things. Mika does bring up a good, valid point. UAV might stop people from using RS Alpha in the future to avoid being seen. Well, it states in the rules that you have to have RS Alpha. RS Alpha is part of a game. If you don't use RS Alpha, you're basically cheating. And it's the same thing as not taking hits and doing other things. You are not playing according to rules. RS Alpha is a part of the game. It's a layer on the game. It makes the experience. And if you don't want to do that, just don't come to the game. Or Marcus, if I'm saying something wrong, please correct me.
No, it's just that every group has to have one person on RS Alpha at least. So not every player has to use RS Alpha. So not all the 500 players this year had to have RS Alpha, but every group, like a squad or a team or however you set it up, has to have one person on Ars Alpha, because without Ars Alpha, you can't find a shit. You can't even find a domination point on the map, because we keep the game dynamic during the course of the 3 days that we're running the game. So every day going to look different. And if you don't have Ars Alpha, you don't know how the game area going to look like.
And I do feel, and if you look at the map of all the people on Ars Alpha, you can see that most of the people, most of the units had people in Ars Alpha. And I hope that people, this is a gentleman game, and this also counts for Ars Alpha. And if I even got on my radio from HQ that we didn't have enough people on Ars Alpha, and that was just by accident, because some of the phones died. And we got a notification from HQ like, hey, guys, can you put some more people on Ars Alpha in your area? So some more people put on their phones and joined Ars Alpha. Because we also asked people, don't get all your people on Ars Alpha at the same time. Because if your phone dies, we don't have anybody. And all your phones are going to die at the same time. So that's why we switched up a little bit. So immediately we could have new phones up and showing up on Ars Alpha. But yeah, if you want to see the full game, it is a really interesting thing to follow around, because I can show you when Victoras had to make a run around the map. What time was that?
During the last day.
The last day.
Yeah.
Saturday, I think around 1500, something like that.
No, I started at 12:30.
He started 12:30.
Yeah, they're going.
I'm quickly
So
finding.
go to 3 o'clock South Railroad crossing.
3 o'clock. Then he was already.
If you want to do that one.
He was far away. I think we need to start here somewhere. Yeah, there he is. There he is. So here we go. Yeah. And then you can see, we're going to play this out a little bit. I put it on 4 times speed. Just see all the blue and yellow dots moving towards it. The Victor had a briefcase that everybody could see on the map. And both HQs diverted people towards them to support them, and then Sparta to try to take him. And this is actually a really funny sight.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. We ran on those guys in the woods. We had no idea about that mission. We just saw people running with the suitcase, and then started looking at the information and started chasing them. But they were running like crazy, so we had no chance to catch up.
Yeah, I didn't even. Victor was my platoon leader, and I didn't even see him after this one. I think they took their victory with this amazing lap around the field, and after that they packed their stuff up and went home. And this was Saturday afternoon anyway, but then when during game off, I came back to base. I was like, where's Victor? It's like, oh, they left. Like, okay, well, I've been platooning around doing my stuff with my group and with the other in the platoon.
So yeah. This is a really fun way of looking back at the game. You can see your friends, of course, on the map during the game. But after the game, you can actually see how close you were to an enemy unit that you just missed, or you were like, oh, this was like a close call. And I already went over it a few times on different timestamps. I was like, oh, those guys just missed me with like 50, 100 meters. It is a really fun tool to watch the game afterwards. So that is about Ars Alpha. We didn't have a lot of questions coming in about that. It's just a really interesting tool for organizers to use. And we just hit the hour mark. And I have a few other topics that I had written down, but we're not going to go into much. Otherwise, we're going to be here way too long. One of the things I do want to talk about is like drones, because both teams had drones. How did you use them? Sparta, whoever, because I don't know if it was HQ that were sending the drones, was a platoon commander sending the drones, or squad leaders sending their drones? Johan or Andreas?
Well, I will let Andreas join in as well. So from us at HQ, we did not use drones a lot. However, we had one drone operator who was rather good for us, as we used that both to scan Legion's camp a little bit sometimes when we needed to know some information regarding that, but also scan the entire area around us in preparations to put up the FOB. So we had a lot of ideas on the map where we wanted to put the fob, but then we needed to get that confirmed that it was actually a good place to place it on. So then we sent out the drone for those kind of missions.
All right.
And we had a dedicated drone operator in our platoon, and we utilized that a lot. So every time, either if we were, coming up on an objective, we didn't know the lay of the land, or at least we didn't know if it was manned by enemies, because a lot of our players in our platoon lives in the areas. They know the area really, really well. So it's mainly just to figure out if people were there or not, or scout. So we used it before we took a point, or always also if we had a perimeter set up, we used it to do patrols, to scan off areas, to see if vehicles were coming. At one point, I think we had the crossroads just south of base blocked from all directions, and we had a roadblock there for an hour or two. We scanned the roads. Sadly, that was during the time, no, even more south. So the crossroads even further down next to the railroad crossing almost. I think at that time, I don't know if it was a coincidence or not, but I think a lot of the Legion players were probably not in field because it was completely dead for 2 hours. So we packed up and left from there. We had ambush points on the crossroads there, and also the road leading north from the crossroad.
All right.
From the train crossing. So we used it a lot. It was really helpful, and I think it's good that we don't need to ask permission. And like Berget, for example, we can only have 2 drone operators, and they're utilized from HQ, which sort of makes it unusable for players in field. So for us, it was really good, really good.
All right. And Legion, how much drone usage do you guys have?
I gotta be honest and say, I don't know. I delegated the drone usage down to platoon. In HQ, I don't really need it because I got RS Alpha, and that's good enough for me for giving orders. The platoons, I think, varied. All platoons had at least 1 drone, and more often than not, they used it to reconnoiter areas, as I understand it.
Yeah, for my experience, I only had 1 sort of encounter with a drone operator on our side, and that was just to, like Gissa said, just get some recon, get some eyes on the road, do a sweep of the area. Is there any sort of enemy movement or anything that we don't know? Because if we spotted movement on the drone, we could check RS, seeing, okay, is that friendly or is it hostile that we have spotted?
Okay, it's nice to hear that actually a lot of tools are being used together to make an as clear picture as possible about the area. And then I do have a question or a remark. Hitboxes on the drones. Drones are going to be difficult always to hit or not hit drones. And that was going to be my next question. Like, do you think that there should be a change in how the drones are being used in this game, or do you think it's a good balance?
I think it's a good enough balance, and it is. I think the utility of drones is here to stay, whether we want it or not. And I think it's great that during this game we could pop drones whenever we needed to, and I would really like to keep it that way.
Yeah, I would agree that having hitboxes on drones makes it immensely complicated, and I would strongly advise against it. I mean, Marcus, you can speak from a crew point of view, but it complicates things immensely. Whereas, as if you hear drones in the air, you just hide from them.
I mean, from a game master perspective, we just want to keep the drones being used. We just want to make sure that the players use them legally. And legally, you have to see your drone when you fly it. So as long as you can see your drone, then fine.
Yeah, and have the license.
We have binoculars, so we can see for 2 kilometers easy. 365.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what the regulators intended, though.
Nope. That's according to the rules. But, yep.
I have eaten my carrots, so I can see everywhere.
one remark in the chat says that thermals are the biggest problem. Now on Bellum, thermals are not allowed. Night visions are allowed, but thermals are not allowed. Also not on drones. So any thermal is just forbidden at Bellum. If you see them, well, they're breaking the rules.
So next year, don't tell a team. I heard this. They asked,
You know you're live,
send up the
right?
drones. Yeah. They said, send up the drone, and then they asked, which one? The thermal one. So someone had a thermal drone with them, and we didn't call it, but we heard it.
Well, we also.
In all fairness, there's a lot of rumors floating around. I heard, for instance, the rumor that Verage had rented a helicopter to get around the field quicker.
But he had.
Don't tell them, Marcus.
Rumor?
Don't tell them.
Yeah. That's a lot of rumors. But hey, we did not catch any thermals at all this year, and we're happy about that.
No, we talked about the thermal drone, like internally also. We had people that heard it, and we were like, well, we also yell stuff at people to just throw them off and be like, oh, are we going to be spotted by thermal now? It's not because somebody tells something that it is true. If you see it and you can confirm it, you go to the marshals and they will deal with it. And this is how you deal with problems.
Yep. And we got told and we didn't find any. So, yep.
Okay.
It could be just rumors. Yep.
All right, good. And that is all the topics that I had, well, that we will go over. Because I do want to give the mic to all of you, one by one, to say a few words about this game, how much you liked it, how much you hated it, depending on how you felt it went. Otherwise, I will be the one doing all the talking here anyway. And with that, after that, we're going to close it off. And if you have any questions for Marcus, organizer, or Legion, or Sparta, put them in the chat, and then we can quickly go over it. I'm going to start with Legion. I'm gonna start.
Surprise, surprise.
Well, you're 4 people and Sparta is 3, so.
Yeah,
and
kind of the story of this game.
And Andreas is in Sparta, so then I can cut him off as soon as time runs out.
Fair enough.
So we're gonna start.
I
start with Rhythm. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I think it was a great game from all sides. What made me personally the most happy is that there was a lot less cheating and incidents this game than the previous game. Though, in all fairness, almost 10%, I think it was deducted from the score because of cheating, and this is a bit of an issue. We need all to become better and following the rules, because this is a gentleman's game. If we stop playing it as a gentleman's game, then one day we will not have a game.
That is, from my perspective, it was good. There was indeed the stuff, and it's good that it's written down, and I do agree. It's something to keep an eye on, but not focus on. Like, the game was good. 80-90% of, more 95% of the people are there to do it correctly, and it's a small minority that is not doing it correctly. For myself, I made the mistake to shoot full auto during the nighttime, and I apologize for that. My brain was not working. And it was 8:20, so it was 20 minutes into nighttime, and I just didn't think about it. People told me I broke the rule. I said, I'm sorry, and that's how it. You try not to break the rules, but sometimes it happens, and then you are respectful for the people around you, and you expect the consequences for breaking a rule accidentally or purposely. I'm not going to respond to everybody, by the way. I will try to.
No, that's cool. I just want to throw in, Mika asked me, did you open the Valhalla yet? Yes, it's empty. You need to bring a bigger bottle next year.
There is a question for Marcus in the chat. AT systems to kill vehicles, are they in development, or are you going to keep the hit system that you have now?
We're going to refine the hit system. and we're going to keep the hit system because we want the players to be able to take out cars using their standard weapons. It's not going to be easy to take out a car, but it's going to be possible.
Okay.
If somebody shows up with a B7 or B8 or any other armored truck, we will consider if we're going to do something special for that. But we're not intending to go to an AT system at Bellum.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mm.
Then for Legion, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, this was my fourth Bellum, and it really speaks to the effort that Marcus and his crew puts in to make a great game. There's a reason why I returned for all these years, and I will return next year with my guys. It's one of the best games during the year, hands down. It's just having a crew that's present and actually invested. At one point, Marcus actually sat down as he was going from one place to another by the fire pit where I was having lunch with my guys. And I'm like, so how is everything working? Is it fine? Is there anything that hasn't been working? I was like, no way. That, you know, Marcus has so much to do, and I'm just going to give him a big praise and shout out because I think it's give credit where credit's due. But that sort of presence as a crew and organizer is rare to find, and I'm very happy that we have you to do this. And then on the topic of, obviously this is the sort of the darkest games throughout all the night. I'm a big fanboy of all things night vision. So I think keep the thermals on a band, more nighttime missions. I know it's an administrative hurdle for you to get through, but it's really, really fun. It's the best time of the year to go out and lurking around in the woods with your very expensive toys and getting a chance to use them. So more of that, please.
All right. Thank you, Adam. Hampus, squad leader for Legion.
Yes. Yeah, I can talk about something that I noticed during this game. This was my third game, like I said before, and I noticed that the game masters was very active. I see them a lot of times, and sometimes they just were out and observing and giving players positive words, and yeah. And sometimes I saw them solving problems, disputes already during the game. So that was something I noticed and really like that they were. It feels like they have an eye on the Ars Alpha and see soon there's going to be a big fight here. We're going with the ATV there and see what happens. So that's what's one thing that I noticed.
All right. Good. Thank you. Then we go to Sparta. Johan.
Well, if I should summarize this in one way, last year I was with Legion. It was a great experience to be with Legion and to do this beneath Gise. But to go to Sparta, that was pretty much the last enemy, and feel the warmth and pretty much how the entire team was like Sparta, Sparta, Sparta. There has been Sparta, we have been hard fights, but there was always Sparta. Just to feel that was an amazing experience, and to meet all these new people and do this together with them and feel that all the platoon leaders had the trust in us and to be able to do what we wanted to do with the help of them. Um, so to summarize it for me was the entire experience. It was tiring, it was hard, but it was also fun. And it had torn me down a lot. I mean, Legion is always fun, but oh my God, there is a massive place in my heart for Sparta this year, and that one would be hard to take away.
Oh, thank you very much. Really good to hear from the commander. Andreas.
Yeah, well, we had a really good time. I think the only reflection I have is, I mean, from also reading the comments in the chat, which Sparta gave up a better fight and all of those things. I think from our side, we were out pretty much all day and a lot of the times during nighttime as well. But I also know that a lot of players left early, didn't show up, etc., etc. So we were sort of at a handicap from the beginning. That's not an excuse, just to make that clear, but it is hard for us to keep the presence all over the map with fewer people and lesser cars as well. So it's not as easy to make that happen. But I think we did a fantastic job. We had a blast. There were some missions where we really got to utilize our skills and tactics and all of those things. We had some really nice fights, and fair play to all players. I'm just pretty sad that we never really got to butt heads with you guys, Adam and Greystone. We were just waiting for the whistles. Never
Yeah, I
heard
mean,
them.
I'm sorry.
the
I think we
we
had
were
them
waiting for
all.
that as well. It would be nice to come up and give each other a high five.
I think.
Yeah. So yeah, someone wanted to say something.
Yeah, I think with Mark, Platoon, and Squad, we bumped into Greystone, Roughnecks, and Nord multiple times.
Well, apparently there was the rumor about the Jesus that was the Ranger platoon running around everywhere, and I don't know, maybe
Well,
maybe the rumors are true.
I had my helicopter to follow you around anyway, so that made it easier.
Yeah, I freaking knew it.
No, Andreas, continue. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's just to commemorate all the players, both sides. We had a blast, and there were never any really bad moments. Either was high fives or fist bumps from both sides. Good fights, um, and some good memories. And also, I mean, it's been said before that the game masters and the crew are really present, and I think that's also something that's not so common if you play these bigger games, and also for them to be so interested in improving. For us, who's been in this game for a longer time, going to Barriet, for example, other bigger games, it sort of after a couple of years becomes, uh, you know, it's the same. It repeats. Not much improves. Here it constantly improves, and if something doesn't work one year, you can bet your ass that something new comes next year that's going to fix that issue. And Marcus is he's really forward about that, and he's listening as well, and I think that's a good point for anyone who wants to go to Bellum, that it is a good organized game, and in a good area as well, middle of Sweden. Of course, it's shit dark during nighttime, and it's not so fun when it rains. But that's what milsim is about. So you need to embrace the suck and just you know get
Be
it done anyway.
be prepared. That would be one of the things that I would tell people. You need to be prepared for the game, any
Yes.
game, not just for sun or good times. But now we had a lot of rain, and a lot of people were not prepared for rain. They didn't check
And
their
that
tents.
surprises me. I mean, you live in a country where internet is readily available for everyone, basically. And how can you miss that it's not going to rain for 24 hours the first day? And I saw so many people. Well, I don't have rain gear with me. I only have one set of boots that are, they're not prepared for it. So I totally get why it's sad for you, but
Well,
it's prepare. Prepare definitely is something to take with you. Definitely.
I did only use one set of clothes, one pair of boots, but a lot of socks and
Yeah.
a poncho. So there is a lot of good videos on my channel to go over gear and why I use gear. And you should, for the people that were not prepared, prepare a little bit more. Do some research about what is good, what is not good, what people used and they didn't like, and all that stuff. There's a lot of good videos out there, especially on my channel, that you should subscribe and like and stuff. I pitched it. There we go, right before the end. We did have some questions coming in while you guys were doing your final thoughts. There was some
Yeah,
people saying that.
Verage, sorry.
Yes,
Can I just have a question to Marcus?
of course. Go ahead.
Yeah, like last year, I think about it, and even more this year, and I see this in the comments also that when you got the bleed time the second time after you got healing, do you consider that you have 5 minutes both times to bleed out, so you can get a kill card also the second time?
We can consider it. I mean, here's the thing: just email or send a message to us with anything that you have consideration, the rules, changes, etc., and we will consider it. Everything that we get, writing or verbally, we take in consideration for next year. So this is the first time I hear this. So we'll add it to the list of things that we will look at for next year.
Yeah, that's good, because I heard that's from a lot of people during the game that when you got hit the second time, you just go and you can't get the kill card.
Yeah, that is according to the rules now. Yes.
So, but we'll look over it, and definitely, if there's anything that needs to be changed to improve the game, that's what we will do.
Because it is coming up more. There is some more.
Because
Go ahead.
Yeah, because this is a really good game and I really like it. So and you always listen, so that's nice. That's nice.
I do also see some. So there's a few things in the chat, and I do agree with Hampus about this. There was a lot of confusion. People were staying in their place and stuff when they were hit the second time. So you crawl to a person, and the disappointment is so big when he says, "I'm already healed." Well, then just stand up and walk away, so I don't need to crawl to you through the mud. So I do agree on that, and it will be one of my recommendation also, and I see that more people will also do that. During the rain, it came in the chat a few times that people had problems attaching their patches to ponchos, for example, and I also told my guys some had sticky tape on their ponchos and then they attached the patches on the ponchos. Some people had blue armbands over the ponchos, but then the rain starts, it's not doing the poncho work anymore. For myself, I had 2 blue armbands on my legs when I had to put on my poncho, so I can easily take them from my legs and put them on my wrists, everywhere, to make it as blue as possible. And I do understand that everybody tried their best to have their patches visible as much as possible. So I will see if I can make some info videos about where to put your patches and how to attach patches to ponchos and stuff like that in the best way. And I will talk to Marcus about that also in the near future.
And have the patches facing outward, please, not in towards your body.
Yeah, of course.
Easy mistake.
Yes. Then we had another question coming in. Let me quickly see. Oh, there was somebody, I think it was Max, saying that what about people swapping from Sparta to Legion? I think this year we had a lot of people switching sides anyway. And it's not about winning or losing. It's not about good players going away to the different side. I think Sparta showed that even with a new HQ every single time, you can still win. We had 3 years with 3 different HQs, and 2 of those years we won. And now it's just Legion won because they were stronger. They adapted their tactics better. It was just Legion was stronger. It's not that they have better players. Sparta has amazing players. We have new players. Legion has amazing players and new players. And that balance is really nice. And people switch, like Adam. I still think you're a traitor.
3 years in Sparta, 1 in Legion.
Fine. But Johan went to the good side.
Well, there's good players on both sides, and for us, it was just after playing Sparta for 3 years, just having a change of scenery, trying something else, see if it's better, see if it's what the difference is.
Okay. Yeah.
Was it better?
Well, I got to win 3 years in a row, so hat trick. I'm happy.
I think you're one of the only ones. So if you want to switch and see how it is on the other side, I think it's different, but both teams have an amazing atmosphere, and you could really feel it when things happened. Like even when people were shot out, they were happy. It was like, okay, you did a nice nice move. It was a good action. When the point was neutralized at the half island, all the people around were happy with the neutralize, and even though they had to check something and they had to do some phone calls, nobody complained about anything. It was like, well, we'll see. It's crew that decides if who takes the win or it's neutral. And when crew said this is it, everyone's like, well, good job, we take it, fair. And that atmosphere is really nice, and you can only have that with people that have respect for each other. And I think Bellum showed a lot of respect on both sides. If you shot somebody, my camera got shot out. I got a message on Instagram from the person that accidentally shot the camera to apologize. I told him, like, those kinds of respect for people is like, it's really nice. It's not we're here and we're tough guys. No, we're here to have fun and do the best thing possible. And Mika says we might switch for next year. I plan to join always the last year losing side to kind of balance it out. So you think you are the winning factor, Mika?
Or he's the one that's making them lose. I don't know.
No, because he won now with Legion, so we'll see.
Oh, okay.
Then there was one more thing coming in the chat. Then for Marcus, some more. I'm looking for the word stricter on ghillie suits, because there was a lot of people wearing ghillie suits that they were not allowed to wear, and then patches were not visible and all kinds of stuff. Now, I do think this is not something for Marcus only to do that. Me as a squad leader, I am responsible for my squad. And I check everybody for patches if they leave. I check for leave suits. I check for what is allowed. It's your responsibility as a leader to make sure that your squad leader is doing their job and check the people in their squad. And then platoon leaders can ask their squad leaders, did you check for this, this, and this? They don't need to check it. Marcus cannot be everywhere. It's up to us as leading people to make sure that our people are doing the right thing.
Just a comment here as well. There was about more than 6,000 points this year was awarded for penalties. And some of that was due to missing patches, wearing ghillie suits, etc. So even if they're not that we can change the course of the game as game masters and crew, that will be penalized if you do not follow the rules by having the closing, the patches, and other things according to the rule book. So this year, normally every year we say that, Sparta had 2,000 points penalties and Legion had 2,000 points, and we call it quit. This year we actually showed the points, that how much penalties there actually is due to these rule breaks. And we're going to do this next year as well. So please know that can be the difference between winning and losing, just having the patches on where they're supposed to be.
No, exactly. And I think most of the people, and you can see it everywhere, had a good game. There was good times, there was bad times. It sucks. The rain sucked. The sun came through. It was awesome. I had a good time. A lot of people had a good time, and I really want to thank Bellum crew for making another good game. This was my 6th Burget Bellum. Sorry, people need to stop making games with a B. Like we noticed that there is a Border Wars, there is Bellum, there is Burget, there is Borderline. I think there's Battle Group. Yes, you also, Mika. There's other letters in the alphabet to use. Okay, I'm sorry. That Bellum was amazing. I loved it, and I look forward to the next one. And I do want to thank everybody here, Johan, Andreas, myself. I'm reading the list. I don't know why I said that. Rhythm, Farah, who's sitting next to me doing some administrative tasks and laughing with me making mistakes, and Adam and Hampus and Marcus, of course. Thank you very much for everybody that sent in questions. And like Marcus said, if you have more remarks and questions, send it in to Bellum themselves. Use their email or contact form. Let me see what it is. Just their contact, whatever. You will find it on the internet. Everybody knows how to use it. You're here, so you know how to find them. And hopefully we see each other all next year on Bellum. Right? And then
absolutely.
And then for this, I want to end this stream, and thank you all for being here, and see you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.